Today's episode will be a bit different as I think the circumstances warrant it. Many of you know I've been a fan of Tesla since 2012 and have covered the company daily now for nearly 5 years. In that time, I have never seen this type of coordinated attack on Tesla and Elon. This is uncharted territory, and I'd like to try to make sense of what's going on. For starters, today was the worst day for the Nasdaq since 2022. Trump talked about a potential recession over the weekend, describing the economy as going through a period of transition. We're set to get an inflation update midweek, and there's still plenty of uncertainty with tariffs. Trump has made it clear he's not really worried about the stock market in the short term by saying you have to build a strong country, you can't really watch the stock market. And for whatever it's worth, I agree with that. But it's true, many of his policies will require short-term pain for long-term gain, and the plan is to make America stronger for the decades ahead, not for the months ahead. As I've always said, the macro picture drives everything, and right now there is plenty of macro uncertainty and fear, so until that clears, Tesla is going to be under pressure. But Tesla itself is under a targeted attack by multiple groups. Info came out over the weekend that organizations like the Sunrise Movement and Planet Over Profit have been organizing vandalism at Tesla stores, and these groups use the Action Network, which coordinates activism, to mobilize this effort. These groups are also organizing Tesla protests. Now, ironically, in 2023, Elon's foundation donated $4 million to the Hack Club, which is part of a global student-led nonprofit group for coders. This group financially supports the Planet Over Profit group, so Elon indirectly funded a group that's now organizing protests and attacks on Tesla. There's another separate movement called the Tesla Takedown that's organized by filmmaker Alex Winter. Their website encourages people to sell their Teslas, sell their Tesla stock, and protest at Tesla locations. The violence at Tesla showrooms and intimidation efforts really are out of control. Tesla showrooms being shot up is outrageous, and there seems to be zero condemnation of this violence from those organizing these anti-Tesla movements. So if there was ever a time to come together as supporters of Elon and Tesla, now would be that time. It is a shame that people don't understand Tesla is one of America's greatest national treasures, an advanced manufacturing behemoth creating tens of thousands of jobs, a real-world AI company working on saving and improving lives, pushing forward cutting-edge technology, a company working hard to create a sustainable energy future for generations to come. So look, I hate everything that's happening to Tesla fans, investors, and employees. It's frustrating, it's disheartening, and anyone supporting or condoning violence or vandalism of property needs to be reprimanded. Then, as an aside, it's being reported there's a massive cyber attack against X and that it's being carried out with a lot of resources, so either a large coordinated group or a country. That's a developing story, but the Dark Storm team has claimed responsibility for the attack. I share because this adds more credibility to the fact there is a coordinated effort to take down Elon, and Tesla is, of course, one of the primary ways that people will try to do so. Tesla stock was down 15.4% today, and Tesla has now erased about $800 billion in market cap since December. On Friday, Tesla concluded its 7th straight week of losses, its longest losing streak since its IPO in 2010. On Friday, Tesla concluded its 7th straight week of losses, which is its longest losing streak in over a decade. As James Stevenson highlighted, by percentage move, today was the 7th worst day in Tesla's history. Like many of you, I have family and friends texting me about how bad Elon is screwing things up. Now, I want to be clear, I vehemently disagree with this sentiment, but part of my rationale is based on politics, which is outside the scope of this channel. But yes, it's clear that we are currently at peak anti-Elon and anti-Tesla hysteria. As expected, more Wall Street firms are lowering their Q1 delivery expectations, as today, UBS cut down to 360 467,000 units from 437, while also cutting its Tesla price target to 225, down from 290. Tesla's forward PE is now down to 75 from over 140 just a few weeks ago. We have analysts continuing to reduce EPS expectations for 2025, which have come down around 10% since November of last year. So look, I'm sharing all of this because we have to live in reality here. Right now, the bears are controlling the narrative and they have the advantage in the short term. It's been mostly poor sales data for quarter one, and yes, a lot of that is thanks to the changeover to the new Model Y, but no matter the reason, it will still have an impact on Tesla's Q1 financials. And we already know Tesla's financials have been lackluster now with no real growth for some time. And there are certainly bot attacks on social media platforms. I see them in my comments far more often than I ever have before, in my X replies and so on. So plenty of folks in the middle that don't really have a horse in this race may be swayed negative right now when it comes to Tesla, as they don't have any context. If you search for Tesla news, you'll be bombarded with negativity. There are more and more anecdotes about hate directed at Tesla owners, and other EV companies are trying to capitalize on the anti-Tesla sentiment right now. And again, I say all of this to call it what it is, a very tough time for Tesla. You know what they say though, it's always darkest right before the dawn. I'm not saying there won't be more pain ahead, because there probably will be. This level of anti-Tesla sentiment won't just disappear overnight, and I'm sure some of you are sick of hearing about all the great things Tesla has coming up because you're sick of waiting with Tesla in general. And I want to be clear, I hear you and I really do understand your frustration. But personally, I am still with Elon, as he said Tesla stock will be fine long term, and I agree. And it's true, we have people on the right buying Teslas and looking into Tesla that we otherwise wouldn't have had if Elon didn't take the path that he's on. There have been plenty of stories like this shared, but as I've said, we won't really have a clear picture of the impact on Tesla's sales until closer to quarter three. To me, this time really has felt like the great Tesla reset. Everyone's convictions and belief in the company will be tested, and only those that are firm in their convictions will prosper in the long run, which is how it should be. And I understand some of you are in bad spots with margin or with accounts plummeting as you're close to retirement, and to that group, I really do feel for you. I saw it way too many times back in my Edward Jones days, and if you ever need someone to talk to or vent to, or someone else to tell your significant other that brighter days are ahead, my emails are open. But let it be a painful lesson. The market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. However, in this case, the argument can be made that the market isn't being irrational given Tesla's financial performance, the public sentiment, the sales uncertainty, and all of that given the macro challenges right now. The market's not going to price in all of the opportunities Tesla has over the next 3 to 5 years. The market's concerned with the next 6 to 12 months. For whatever it's worth, I am still buying Tesla, and I personally still view this as an exceptional opportunity. It is getting close to option territory for me, but it still feels a bit too early. None of this is ever financial advice, but I want you to know I would be the first to tell you if my convictions about Tesla's future change. And while things may get worse in the short term than I would have predicted given these anti-Tesla movements, they don't at all change Tesla's opportunity to dominate with FSD and Optimus. As Keys told us, big things are happening with autonomous regulation in Europe, as the UNECE is voting on big changes this week. Things like removing the steering wheel nag, allowing system-initiated lane changes, and creating a global framework for full autonomy. If this gets approved, it could be very bullish for Tesla's FSD across the EU. FSD videos from China continue to roll out, and more people are saying Tesla's FSD capabilities are unrivaled and that Tesla's ChatGPT moment is taking place in China. Ordinarily, weekly sales data doesn't carry too much weight, but the next 12 weeks or so for China's weekly insurance numbers will give us a hint if FSD is going to help boost Tesla sales in China. Hopefully, Tesla can quickly finally ramp up production of the new Model Y, and things will start to look brighter from China. Tesla's also working on launching the Cybertruck in Australia, according to Tesla's country director for Australia and New Zealand. He said, "The only product we're missing at the moment that we really want here is the Cybertruck, and we're in conversations trying to make that happen. That's something we're trying to influence." Elon said Tesla's completion cost for Tesla's Cortex-1 AI cluster in Austin will be around $5 billion. And please, show me what other auto company is spending even a fraction of this on its own training for autonomy. Now, in fairness, this type of investment does not pay off right away. We need to think in terms of years, not months for this one. And the same holds true for Optimus, with an even longer time frame required. And as always, Tesla is still innovating on the details, like using new post foundations for supercharger stalls made out of polypropylene that are all ballasted on site with gravel. It's easier to install by a single person compared to shipping precast or pouring concrete. It's faster, reduces the CO2 footprint, and reduces costs. Max from Tesla also said charging infrastructure still needs to 30x from here, so these efficiency improvements do matter for scalability. Chamath had an interesting framing of the stock market situation, saying Biden and Yellen pumped the asset markets, and now Trump and Bessent have to unwind it. With government layoffs, a big cut to government spending, and the tariffs, these will bring a short-term slowdown in economic activity. But long-term, they're meant to pave the way for more sustainable and more efficient growth. Now, whether it plays out that way remains to be seen, but that's where we're at right now, squarely in the uncertainty and feeling that short-term pain. But I think most of us know this will not last. A day will come when Elon is no longer part of Doge, and when Tesla's embodied AI finally begins its takeover and starts actually producing profits in the way we all know that it can. It will likely take enduring even more short-term pain, but it will make the payoff that much sweeter, and I think we would all agree, if Tesla solves for unsupervised and Optimus, there won't be anywhere near enough anti-Tesla sentiment to stop the company from doing great things and handsomely rewarding those that held through the storms. And right now, I think one of my favorite all-time quotes from C.S. Lewis is worth sharing. "Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny."